Good evening, camera, and welcome. Oh, now you can hear me. Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to the Town Board of the Town of Ossining regular meeting for Tuesday, August 10th, 2021. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If everybody's okay, I will take off my mask.
Councilmember Feldman,
Present.
Councilmember Shaw,
Present.
Councilmember Meyer,
Present.
Councilmember Wiltshire,
Present.
Supervisor Levenberg,
I'm here.
and we have our public hearing for local law to amend Chapter 136 of the Town Code regarding temporary outdoor dining permits.
So we are starting our meeting this evening with a public hearing on a proposed local law to continue to allow outdoor dining in the town of Ossining through July 2022. We have discussed this at a few work sessions now, but before I open it up to the public, Council Donna, do you have anything to add?
Basically, it's just last year around this time, the board adopted the temporary outdoor dining permit law. And given the change in circumstances, it's become a little fuzzy about whether or not and under what circumstances that can still be applied. So the intent is for the board to allow it for another year until July 8th, which is in line with the state law that was enacted by, obviously by the state, to continue to allow outdoor dining, not under identical circumstances, but the spirit is to continue to allow outdoor dining for the benefit of the public, but more significantly to assist restaurants and other eating establishments in recovering from the financial harm they suffered during the pandemic. So while it does allow it to go on for another year, as of July 8th, 2022, the way the law is drafted, it will terminate, and any establishment that wishes to continue outdoor dining on a permanent basis from that day forward will have to have already obtained site plan approval. So this is basically to just build in a little bit more time for those establishments, with the understanding that if they want to continue this in the future, they have to start looking ahead now.
And in fact, we would encourage them to do so because we don't know how long this may go on. And one of the issues that we had discussed was that, the restaurant businesses in particular are seeing more people requesting to eat outside. So still the nature of the local laws as it's extended is not to add to the total number of people that would be allowed inside, but to ultimately equal the total number that they're permitted to have inside plus outside.
Right, that was a concept that was in the original law, and that's not modified by the proposed local law. All this is doing is extending the time that establishments can utilize this temporary permit without getting amended site plan approval or site plan approval, as the case may be. And also the provision from the original law that required a showing of a detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the public that required outdoor dining. Again, as we discussed at the work session last week, when we first started discussing this in early to mid-July, the landscape was very different. So now that might not be necessarily applicable, but who knows what could happen. So basically, it just affords them the rights. But as you said, Supervisor, it does not increase their total capacity. In order to be eligible for the permit, they will have to demonstrate that they are reducing their indoor capacity to the same level to balance it out, so that it doesn't exceed 100% of what they would be allowed to have 100% indoors.
And also just to clarify, sometimes questions arise that this doesn't give them, there's not like outdoor music allowed. There's not, none of the things that you couldn't do before outside are suddenly allowed outside just because outdoor dining is allowed. Pretty much what is allowed is outdoor dining. In other words, things that might have been allowed indoors are not extended to the outdoors, except for dining and if they have a liquor license, they can serve alcohol beverages.
That's correct. Yeah, you're still required to comply with all other aspects of the code and law. Just the only thing that changes is that you can be outdoors instead of indoors.
All right, so with that, we'd just like to, now that we have discussed a little bit, open it up to the public for comments on the local law to amend chapter 136 of the town code regarding temporary outdoor dining permits. Is there anybody here from the public remotely who would like to address the board at this public hearing? Please raise your virtual hand to discuss outdoor dining.
Doesn't appear by anybody.
Virtual hands. Okay. No virtual hands are raised. Fantastic. Going once. Going twice. Okay, with that, can I have a motion to, does the board have anything that they want to add? Otherwise, I'll make,
No, I'm
ask for a
happy with
motion to
it.
close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, second. Do I have a second? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So next up, we have a special presentation on community choice aggregation. We have Paul Presendu from Sustainable Westchester with us this evening. Did I mess up your name? You're gonna have to repronounce it for us, Paul. For an update on the Community Choice Aggregation Program. Community Choice Aggregation has been a great program for Ossining and so many communities in Westchester. Sustainable Westchester had taken the lead on this program a number of years ago. I think we're in our either our 5th or 6th year in the program. So we're looking forward to hearing about how we're doing here in Ossining in terms of reducing greenhouse gases and saving some money for our residents and businesses as well. So Paul, please tell us how to pronounce your last name, and I turn the Zoom mic over to you.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. It's Presendu. You pronounced it very well, and thank you for providing us this opportunity to give a presentation. You and also your honorable members of the Town Council. Provided this presentation as part of our compliance with the Public Service Commission to let you know about the performance of your community choice aggregation at what is roughly around the midway point of the current contractual period. Am I able to share my screen to pull up the presentation? I did email copies of the presentation. The presentation I have, some of the slides are going to be hidden because the information could be a little redundant, and I want to protect the integrity of your agenda because I know it's pretty lengthy for tonight. Let me
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so here we go. So for some of you who may or may not know, we at Sustainable Westchester, we are a nonprofit consortium of 44 local governments and Westchester County itself to support programming and environmental protection and also access to renewable energy. We pride ourselves in our ability to come together and leverage our combined population to really address programming that also is feasible through the lens of what is environmental economics and make sure that our programming is also equitable in pricing of participation for residents all throughout Westchester County among all socioeconomic levels of society. Just a quick overview of our program. Obviously, I'll be here to talk about the Westchester Power Program and other programs, Community Solar, which I'll talk to about a little bit later on as well, in terms of your ability to be able to subscribe to your nearby solar farm and be able to access the benefits of solar energy and up to 10% savings on your renewable on your utility bill, regardless of the installation of solar capture technology on your own property, which is great because it allows all residents to participate, which is great for not only environmental justice, but also economic justice as we're combining our climate-related issues. Electrification solutions as energy smart homes to see what you could be doing in your residential property in terms of overall efficiency, also clean transportation for EV infrastructure and being able to have the EV technology accessible to residents and also to municipal leadership as well. Grid efficiency, such as grid rewards and virtual power plants, so you can know your own residential energy consumption and be aware of what's happening on a grid level. And also we wouldn't be about sustainability if we didn't have programming on zero waste, such as zero waste programming to know about how you could partner with municipal leadership to protect things going into your solid waste streams, and also things on recycling literacy. So you know what's recyclable, what's not, and also have the convenience of your municipality's recycling schedule on a smartphone application. So just an overview of the Westchester Power Program. What we are is we support municipalities such as the town of Austin and the creation of what is called a community choice aggregation. And this is a renewable energy option for residents as opposed to having Con Edison as your default supplier. So as many of you may or may not know, you probably should know if you open your Con Edison bill, your bill is broken down into two parts, supply and the delivery. Con Edison will always be there for the delivery of your electricity supply due to their own ownership of the utility devices, the wiring, the power cables. So we help with municipalities identify a renewable energy option in terms of the supply portion for the electricity, which is really, really invaluable for our ability to offset residential carbon emissions and also be able to have this electricity price more equitable for residents to access, because you're leveraging the population of your municipality, which is going to result in better pricing as opposed to someone that is going into the marketplace on their own to get this renewable energy pricing. Right now, our CCAs are powered by New York State hydropower, which is very, very dependable. It has been performing very strongly, and the pricing for that has been for the CCAs has been much better as comparison to someone going out there on their own. So you're saying you're looking for energy for thousands of residents as opposed to one residential property owner that's looking for renewable energy for one property. And it's really great. We're allowed to purchase electricity in the bulk, proactively set the criteria for the supply, which allows us to work with municipal leaders such as yourself to really tell the energy supply companies or ESCOs that if they want to supply our CCAs, they can sell for more than this certain amount in regards to cents per kilowatt. And we're also able to help be on the forefront through the Westchester Power Program, educating residents about clean energy, let them know about municipal and energy climate goals for the county, and also helping position yourselves for stronger standing within the clean energy community programming and climate smart community programming through NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. So far, our CCAs are active in 28 municipalities, which is currently powering 115, over 115,000 residents and small businesses in terms of residential properties, which is roughly 1/3 of Westchester County itself. We're looking to make sure that we expand, and also in the near future, the city of Yonkers will be joining our CCA programming, which will be great news because it's the largest city in Westchester County and the 4th largest city in New York State. So we're seeing a positive momentum towards people wanting to make this renewable energy option accessible for residents so that they're not just entirely dependent on Con Edison supplying them some sort of a renewable option. So far right now, countywide, we have offset over 775,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide, which is equivalency of taking 168,000 cars off of the road for 1 year, or the plan to get 12.8 million tree seedlings. We're very proud of the support we have from the town of Austin, because so far you have offset over 7,141 metric tons of CO2, which is the equivalency of taking 1,550 cars off the road for 1 year, or the planting of 117,830 tree seedlings over the span of 10 years. For those of you who may or may not know, 1 metric ton is the equivalent of 1 metric ton is the equivalent of 2,204.6 pounds. So you really have done a really great work. I actually did some calculations when I got on a Zoom call. It's over 15.7 million pounds that have already been mitigated of carbon dioxide. So we're very proud of the work that the town of Austin has been doing, and also your support as well, Supervisor Levenberg, since you are on the board of directors of Sustainable Westchester. We're proud to have your support there as well too. As I said before, our CCAs are currently powered off of 100% emissions-free New York State hydropower. This is just a listing of where some of the hydropower facilities are located that are powering our municipalities' renewable energy supply, electricity supply, and also some images on the bottom, because we like to pride ourselves that us supporting the use of this energy supply isn't having any devastating impact on the natural beauty of those municipalities. These images look much better than they will look if you installed some sort of a fossil fuel plant or a fracking plant in those areas. So we're happy to be preserving the natural beauty. Just a quick rundown through the benefits. Obviously, you guys have this slide if you want to ask me any follow-up questions in the future, or it's just that we're a vetted community program. We're a community nonprofit that is municipally vetted by leaders such as yourself. We are not an ESCO. We are not an energy supply company, even though we do help with engaging and with communicating and working with ESCOs. Some of you may have known about ESCOs being a very predatory practice where you could be talking to someone on the phone. They ask you for your Con Edison account number, and next thing you know, you're locked in a contract paying 20 cents a kilowatt for some renewable energy supply that you could be getting for 7.48 cents at the CCA program. So we pride ourselves on being able to help with the protection of people, be able to access renewable energy, not having to sift through those ESCO offers, and making sure that residents are aware of this program and also the ability to retain the choice whether to stay in the program or also to leave and return to Con Edison for their electricity supply without any fees or penalties. In terms of cost control stability, it's fixed prices. The 7.48 cents per kilowatt is something that's done for an entire contractual period that ends in June of 2022, and is and there's no volatility in terms of price spikes. You're not going to be paying 7.48 cents a kilowatt one month, and the next month you're paying 11 cents per kilowatt. We have fixed rates, no penalties or termination fees, and residents will always be notified about new pricing or anything in developments in regards to the Westchester Power Program through mailers that we're willing to work with you as municipal leaders to share with your constituency. The best part of the job is the advocacy and education, the ability to have in-office support Monday through Fridays between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. You can email us 24/7 at info@sustainablewestchester.org with any questions. My personal email is paul@sustainablewestchester.org. I have a running joke that I do my best to treat my email like AOL Instant Messenger, just to make sure that we're able to really respond as promptly as possible and highlight our sincerity and authenticity with helping address issues of environmental sustainability. For in a climate emergency, we have to have a sense of urgency responding to people that reach out to us for some sort of education or insight in regards to our programming. And we also have Spanish language customer service. We are well aware that the town of Alsning is home to a large Hispanic population in the demographic. So we have this presentation that we could share to members in Spanish you could have on standby, or we're willing to have customer service in Spanish as well too, and as well as outreach events and workshops. And we're also willing to coordinate events such as teaching residents how to read your bill or other fundamental things in energy literacy that they should know to be able to protect themselves or to be able to work side by side with you as municipal leaders to help with addressing environmental sustainability. And also it's about mitigating climate change. As I said before, we have already offset hundreds of thousands of metric tons of carbon dioxide, and the participation of municipalities helps them achieve clean energy community certification or in position yourself for grants, which helps you transcend some economic barriers that might be preventing the town from achieving your full potential in environmental sustainability. And also out of our 28 municipalities, 26 municipalities have chosen the green supply as a default option, which is very good, which allows residents to be able to instantly access complete carbon-free energy without having to go through the process of going to the marketplace and finding out what works out best for them. Currently, the rates right now in terms of residential supply in our Con Edison territories is 7.41 cents per kilowatt. Also for small and commercial accounts is 7.10 cents. We also do have a standard supply option for residents that do not want the 100% renewable energy option, which is 6.75 cents, and also for small and commercial accounts, 6.45 cents. And that's for the green supplies for our new 100% renewable New York State hydropower, and the standard supply is for largely non-renewable sources, which is similar to the supply option you're receiving right now from, you could say, from Con Edison or your default energy supplier. We do a reverse auction with real-time bidding, total transparency, to be able to find out the ESCO, the energy supply company that will be powering our community choice aggregations. We do invite municipal leaders such as yourself to sit in these bids. It's a really great experience. If you've ever been in an auction where it says I have $1, I have $2, I have $3, the reverse auction is completely different, where you're pulling upon the competitive natures of these energy supply companies that want to gain the contracts of the thousands of customers at once, which will help them save a lot of money off of a robust field program and do door-to-door knocking. So this reverse auction allows them to really be able to participate and be able to really allows us to be able to identify the best price at the 10th of a cent for the best interest of your customers and the integrity of their finances. Just a quick overview, you do have copies of the presentation of a comparison of the pricing of our CCA program in comparison to Con Edison. We pride ourselves on being able to have competitive pricing in regards to Con Edison, and we have historically beaten Con Edison numerously times in the past. But in terms of 2019, going into 2020, between the COVID-19 pandemic and the drop in oil and gas prices, we saw the drop in Con Edison price as well. Many of you may remember that time period where where gas prices were so low, you actually were getting paid to take oil barrels of oil, and also there were some reports on news of people going to gas stations and like pouring gasoline into like plastic containers and things like that, because that's how low gas got. But in recent history in 2021, we are proud to say that we have been Con Edison's price consistently, and we do feel very confident of seeing that trend continue as we close out 2021 and enter into 2022. You see a similar fluctuation, a similar trend for small and commercial accounts as well. Where strong performance historically, and then the droppage going into 2019 and 2020, and then a recovery into 2021. And all this information can be seen on our website, stateofwestchester.org/WP, to be able to go to our website, go to a specific month, and find out what the Con Edison pricing was. But a little bit of a silver lining is our 7.41 cents per kilowatt is much better than what anyone will see if they were to go on the New York State Power to Choose website and identify a renewable energy supplier. So even as these prices increase, which they have been increasing as of late, the 7.41 cents per kilowatt is fixed, it's locked in, and it's going to be available for residents all throughout the contractual period that ends in June of 2022. And we're confident that we'll be able to get fair, more equitable pricing when we go through the contract renewal, based upon our ability to leverage thousands of people that are dependent upon this for their renewable energy supply, and municipal leaders such as yourselves who are depending upon this program to be able to offset to continuously offset residential carbon emissions. This is just a quick overview of a chart comparing our pricing from in terms of all of our contractual periods for the town of Austin CCAs with Con Edison's pricing. In the parentheses are when we're behind, out of parentheses are ahead, and a little bit of silver lining off was popular to say, depends on who you're talking to. You're telling someone that's in the CCA program that so far through our current contractual period that began in January 2021, that for $2.82 more, you're completely offsetting your carbon emissions from New York State hydropower renewable energy supply. Some people might think, wow, that's really good. I'll pay $2.82 more to be able to offset our carbon emissions completely. Some other people will say, hey, I need that money back. I want that money in my pocket. But this is from data that we assembled based upon the average residential account in the town of Austin CCA using 582 kilowatts per month. Similar chart for small and commercial accounts. Again, you have this. You want to take a closer look at this information and ask me any questions. Similar information, brackets are pricing behind, out of brackets are pricing ahead. Westchester Power Program is a foundation for other initiatives, one of them being community solar, as I mentioned before, which allows residents to subscribe to a nearby solar farm and have the generated solar energy reflected on their renewable energy bill in terms of solar credits and being discounted up to 10% off their utility bill. And this is a great program that anyone could participate in, regardless if you're living in a multi-family building and you're not able to talk to your landlord to have solar panels installed, or you have a private residential property, but you have roofs that aren't strong enough, or you have a roof that doesn't have a strong enough solar potential to generate the solar credits. So this is a great program that allows anyone in the town of Austin to participate in, regardless of their social economic status. Great for environmental justice conversations, great for economic justice conversations, and allows residents, regardless of in the CCA program, they could be in Con Edison and be able to subscribe into this program and subscribe to a nearby solar panel and get solar farm and get these benefits. And if you have anyone that's interested that would like to know about this, please have them contact me at paul@stateofwestchester.org, and I'll be happy to connect them to our solar team here to make sure that they're able to sign in, regardless of whether or not they're in the CCA program. But on the bright side, the Public Service Commission has ordered utilities to provide consolidated billing for community solar. and the possibility of opt-out community solar for people that are in the CCA program. This means that residents that are in the community choice aggregation program for residents that are in the community choice aggregation program for the town of Ossining will also be automatically opted in to a community solar, where they'll be able to get those 10% savings, starting with low to moderate income residents, and they'll be able to access the benefits. And it's going to be really great because now all the residents that are in the CCA program are not only offsetting they're not only offsetting 100% of their carbon emissions for residential energy consumption, but they're now saving 10% on their energy bill, which will probably knock off that 2.82 cents that I mentioned before for the current contractual period of us being behind. So it's a really great program. I will be circling back in the near future with Dan Welsh, who's the director of the Westchester Power Program, because we are going to need to revisit the enabling law that was passed by the town of Ossining, just to make a couple of changes to allow the opt-out community solar to be accessible for residents in the CCA for the town of Ossining, starting with low to moderate income earners within the town, which would be great because you're rolling this opportunity out to the most economically vulnerable members of society. Key dates and milestones coming up. As I mentioned before, June of 2022 is the current contractual period, which means that May of 2022 is when the notification mailing will be going out to residents of the new contractual period. And March and April is when we're going to go into the RFP and go through the generation of a contract for the reverse auction to identify what will be the current energy supplier, what will be the next energy supplier, the pricing, and making sure that we're able to work on an outreach strategy to get the word out. And the current supplier is Constellation Energy, as I mentioned. I probably didn't mention that. Constellation for the current CCA for the town of Ossining at 7.41. The pricing was there for our green supply. Outreach and education is what we're proud about. This is our last slide. I hope I'm making good time, everyone. We pride ourselves to have a robust portfolio of county and local press, social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also digital collateral and educational videos through our YouTube channel, our YouTube channel that you can subscribe to and watch videos, or online. And I could be happy to share videos to any of you about specific topics of education. It might be out of the Westchester Power Program about commercial cooling and heating, also about zero waste, compost, sustainable landscaping. You want to help create a community garden. We have a huge digital collateral to help residents and help you to really localize resources in environmental stewardship, and also virtual community education and presentations. I'm willing to help work on conducting any of those. If any of you know any neighborhood associations or organizations within the town of Ossining that we can make a presentation to and to present this information to, please let us know. We'll be happy to help oblige. And that's about it. I'm here to answer any questions that many of you may have. I hope I made good timing. We're trying to make these presentations very short to protect to protect all of you, the agenda, because I know you have a very robust agenda, especially as you're dealing with other issues such as during the COVID-19 pandemic. I hope all is well.
Thank you so much, Paul. That was a fantastic presentation. Extremely clear. A little lengthy. No, I'm sorry. You did great. It was fantastic. Really appreciate it. It's exciting to see so many of the programs that Sustainable Westchester offers are programs that the town is participating in. So I'm really happy about that. I'm happy that we opted to be 100% green and offer that to our residents, and that now, you can tack on community solar on top of that. I think that we probably have some really good opportunities for you to offer your energy literacy program, which I don't think I knew about. So I'm glad to hear about that, to maybe a couple of different agencies and task forces. So I think that we'll be reaching out to you on that. And I'd just like to open it up to my board colleagues to see if anybody has any questions or comments. Well, our Sustainable Westchester or CCA, Westchester Power.
I'm actually interested to hear more about the energy literacy programs, like the supervisor said. I could think of a few groups in town that would benefit from that, or I could think everybody would probably benefit from it. I'm kind of sick of explaining it, but I think it'd be a good thing to set up our community.
We have a robust, we have numerous videos I could share with you. We're willing to conduct presentations on teaching residents how to read their bill, so that they can be able to identify pricing. Some of you may have heard about some of your constituents that might have had issues with their billing from Con Edison, where they might have been underbilled, and then they didn't address it, or they might not have a supply portion on their bill whatsoever. And then now they're being double billed the next monthly period. So it's really about teaching residents how to be aware of what they should be expecting on their bill, being able to track your own residential consumption, because our Con Edison does make they sometimes they make mistakes, but being able to educate people on how to read their bill and be able to notice those mistakes, and we could help them with reaching out to Con Edison so to correct their billing issues and then return it for them, so that they know that what they're paying is what they use in terms of energy supply. And it also builds that confidence with them being able to work side by side to identify other renewable energy initiatives and to help with the reduction of their energy consumption as well too.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. That's awesome. Definitely, like you said, we'll do a job. Anybody else? Any questions, comments?
No.
Okay, none. Thank you so much, Paul. Once again, that was a fantastic presentation. Kudos to you and to Westchester Power for all the good work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day and keep up the
You too. Okay, so I'm starting off the meeting again with a reminder, even though I just took my mask off, to please remember to wear your masks in public indoor settings in accordance with CDC guidance, as Westchester is now a location with high community transmission of COVID-19. As you can see, my board colleagues and I are following this guidance this evening by wearing our masks in this public setting. I'm just taking mine off for announcements so that you can hear me. It makes it a little hard to hear with the mask, obviously. So if you please could remember that they're required to be worn in public spaces in town and village of Boston buildings for both visitors and employees, regardless of vaccination status. These actions are in place to protect us all from the spread of COVID-19, especially the even more infectious Delta variant. Please do your part and protect yourself and your family by getting vaccinated as soon as possible. Vaccines are still our best defense against COVID-19, and it has been encouraging to see vaccine numbers again increasing exponentially across the country in response to the continuing crisis we're facing as a nation. It has never been easier to get vaccinated, as most pharmacies offer walk-in appointments, and the Ossining Volunteer Ambulance Corps, OVAC, is vaccinating at their headquarters on Clinton Avenue on Wednesdays and Fridays. OVAC will also be at the Summer Concert Series this Friday with a vaccination pop-up for concert goers. If you have questions about the vaccine, www.vaxupwestchester.org is a great resource for facts. And the Westchester County Department of Health has set up a phone line for residents to speak one-on-one with nurses and doctors about the vaccines and your particular health concerns. Call 914-995-5800 to be connected with a healthcare professional in either English or Espanol to ask questions. Please get your facts from verified sources like healthcare providers, because we know and the data shows that these vaccines save lives with extremely low risk for serious negative side effects. The county has ongoing vaccine clinics at 20 South Broadway in Yonkers and 134 Court Street in White Plains for COVID-19 vaccines and back to school vaccines for eligible young children. The Yonkers clinic is open Mondays and Thursdays from 4 to 7, and the White Plains clinic is open Fridays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Call in advance for an appointment for back to school vaccines at 995-5800, same number, but walk-ins for COVID-19 are welcome and encouraged. Get ready for another installment of our summer concert series and food truck Fridays this Friday with the Mike Briscoe Band performing starting at 7 p.m. In light of the COVID-19 numbers ticking up, and we've had some very nice attendance at these events, we ask all attendees to wear their masks, regardless of vaccination status, at all times when in crowded settings and not in your pod enjoying your meal and beverage. Please follow this guidance so we can continue the summer fun for the remaining weeks. We will post and share the final lineup of food trucks and craft beverage corral pourings later in the week. But I have gotten some sneak previews and it looks great. Make sure you're following the Town of Ossining, Greater Ossining Chamber of Commerce, and Sing Sing Kill Brewery on Facebook for the latest updates, and definitely come hungry on Friday, and also the Riscos for hosting regularly, especially as they're going to be performing. Thank you to our amazing summer concert and Food Truck Fridays planning team of the Greater Ossining Chamber of Commerce, Sing Sing Kill Brewery, Mike and Miriam Risco, and Superintendent of Recreation and Parks, Bill Garrison. We hope to see you there. And don't miss the last installment of the Summer Acoustic Music Series at Market Square tomorrow night, August 11th at 7 p.m. for a performance of Two's Company. Public outreach for the comprehensive plan continues as we near the release of a draft comprehensive plan. We are seeking additional community feedback in an effort to highlight some of the larger policies and ideas to be discussed in the draft plan. The plan will continue to incorporate the input from this summer engagement into the final guide for the initiatives and policies for the town to consider for further planning and development as defined in the plan. The steering committee members will be using posters as an easy way to engage people in this conversation and to make sure people stay informed as to when the draft comp plan is released. So if you see a steering committee member at an event this summer or posters stationed at a local business, please take a moment to say hi and respond to the interactive activities seeking your input. We're looking forward to sharing the final results with the community, so stay tuned. The Village of Ossining is seeking community input on their 2021 application to the New York State Downtown Revitalization Initiative. In its 5th year, this program will invest $200 million in up to 20 downtowns statewide, and we want some of that to come to Ossining. The Village of Ossining was a finalist in 2019, and with your help, Ossining could very well be the winner this year. Both an English language and a Spanish language input session will be held this Thursday, August 12th, via Zoom. The English session will start at 5:30 p.m. Use meeting ID 917-9737-9895. You can find it on the Village website. And the Spanish session will start at 7:30 p.m. Use meeting ID 943-8223-4518 to join. There will be a gravestone cleaning workshop hosted by the Ossining Historic Cemeteries Conservancy this Saturday, August 14th, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon at our very own Dale Cemetery. Follow the yellow arrows when you arrive at the cemetery. This is a great way to get community service hours and learn more about Ossining's rich history while helping out your community. Also, this Saturday, August 14th at 9 a.m., Alicia Simpson of Crossover Yoga Project will be holding a trauma-conscious yoga class as part of the Mind, Body, Spirit Ossining program at Lewis Echo Park. I joined last month's session, and you're not going to want to miss this relaxing morning with the backdrop of the Hudson. I think we could all use a few extra moments to breathe these days. At least my watch tells me so. Phew. Please remember that the New York State Emergency Rental Assistance Program is ongoing and offers assistance to households behind on rent. Apply today at nysrenthealth.otda.ny.gov or visit www.westchestergov.com/housinghelp or simply dial 211. That's the easiest way to go to get help with your application. New York State also has funds available to provide financial help to New Yorkers who lost income during the pandemic and were otherwise ineligible for other federal relief programs through the Excluded Workers Fund. Visit dol.ny.gov/EWF as in Frank for more information. This pandemic has been challenging for many, at the least, but please remember there is a lot of help out there for families now who have or are continuing to experience financial hardship at this time. We are expecting, or maybe we're already in, a heat wave in our area over the next few days, looking like it's going to be mighty hot. The Lewis Angle Park Spray Park will be open extended hours for people to cool down. I believe it opens at 10 a.m. and goes probably even a little past 7 these days. Con Edison has shared they are prepared to respond should there be any power outages associated with added stress on the grid from increased use of air conditioners or severe thunderstorms as the heat breaks. They also ask for everyone to conserve energy whenever possible at this time. So if you're not home, turn the ACs up higher to take off pressure from the grid. Please stay safe and cool. So again, turn them up to 74, 76, 78 when you're not home, and then you can turn them back down when you get home. Finally, we learned this afternoon that Governor Andrew Cuomo announced he would be resigning his position in light of the Attorney General's investigation of his alleged sexual harassment and misconduct. Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul is now poised to become the first female governor of the state of New York. It has been a long time for women to step into this highest office of our government, and I'm proud to be a New Yorker today. I'm hopeful that our state government can now continue to focus on the important work that needs to be done on many fronts, especially the pandemic, on behalf of all New Yorkers. That's it for my announcements. Do my colleagues have anything to add? Any liaison reports? I can say that the Recreation Advisory Board had their cookout and a little meeting and walkthrough of some of the plans for the community center this last Monday. Last Monday, and there's a lot of great work going on in all of our parks, village and town, and a lot of great programs, trees being planted. We're seeing the final work happening at Sally Swope. We were stalled for a little while for a number of reasons, but we're back on track. We have new tennis courts at Ryder Park that are open. We have our new installation of kayak racks down at Engle Park, and hopefully we will have that program up soon. So look forward to that. We have continued testing at our beach in hopes of maybe getting to open that next year, fingers crossed, and hopefully some more good news to be announced in the not too distant future. So look forward to that.
Okay, one more thing. The Jug Tavern is having their next walking tour of the historic Sparta neighborhood at the south end of Ossining. It will take place Sunday, August 15th. The tour will begin at the Jug Tavern at 1 p.m. With an introduction to history of the area. Participants will then walk about 6 blocks through the neighborhood, learning about the historic homes and landmark district. Tour will end around 3. Dr. Ellen Stahl, a neighborhood resident who teaches history department in the history department at Princeton, has served as chair of the Village of Ossining Historic Preservation Commission, will lead the tour. The last tour this year is scheduled for Sunday, September 19th. The tour is free, but it's limited to 20 people. So for a reservation or further information, go to the Jug Tavern website at www.jugtavern.org. So this Sunday or Sunday, August 15th or September 19th are your 2 more opportunities this year to enjoy this tour. And I've taken it. It's really a great tour.
Thank you. All right, fantastic. Thank you. And you think that we did share that out in our announcements on Friday, and then we will share it out again this Friday in our update. So with that, we are now in our public comment on agenda items only. So if you have a comment on any of the board resolutions, please raise your virtual hand so you can be recognized.
I'm not seeing any virtual hands at this time.
Okay. Seeing none, we can move on to our board resolutions.
Okay, approval of minutes, regular meeting, July 27th, 2021. Resolved that the town board of the town of Ossining hereby approves the July 27th, 2021 minutes of the regular meeting as presented. Do you have a motion?
Second. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Okay. Approval of voucher detail report. Resolved that the town board of the town of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated August 10th, 2021 in the amount of $614,129.02.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? This includes our IMA payments to the village. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Standard workday and reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials. Be it resolved that the town of Austining /30042 hereby established the following standard workdays for these titles and will report the officials to the New York State and local retirement based on the record of activities as seen below.
Do I have a motion?
So, second,
So the New York State retirement system requires elected officials, especially those who are part-time, to keep track of the hours worked for the municipality, so their service credit for purposes of retirement can be accurately reflected. Due to the pandemic, the retirement system had granted leniency, so elected officials could get a more accurate count of their hours worked, since most had their work reduced during the pandemic, especially those who worked for the courts, as the courts were closed for several months in 2020. We are a bit delayed catching up with our new elected officials from 2020 and 2021, but happy to be accepting this tonight so we can get some of this accounted for. Questions or discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed?
New York State Liquor Authority Special Event Permit Application, Austining Fire Department. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austining hereby authorizes the supervisor to sign the landlord authorization form for the New York State Liquor Authority Special Event Permit Application made by the Austining Fire Department for the Westchester County Volunteer Firemen's Association Convention to take place on September 16, 2021, September 17, 2021, and September 18, 2021 at Lewis Angle Park. And be further resolved that the applicant will provide proof of insurance and a letter of indemnity to the town in a form acceptable to council to the town.
Do I have a motion?
second,
So exciting news. Austining will be hosting the Westchester County Volunteer Firemen's Association Convention this September, I believe postponed from last September. And the Austining Fire Department has requested to serve alcohol at Lewis Angle Park as part of their celebrations, which requires approval by the town board. So any questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Proposal Local Blue Solutions. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austining hereby accepts the proposal for Local Blue Solutions for social media, regular communications, community partnerships, and community equity task force through December 31st, 2021 at a fee not to exceed $9,289.50.
Do I have, actually, I'm sorry, I will be abstaining from this vote. As Acacia Moriello, the president of Local Blue Solutions, did work for my campaign in the primary season, so I'm going to turn it over to my deputy supervisor, Greg Meyer, to lead this vote.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor. So last week we heard from Acacia on behalf of Local Blue Solutions to help fill some of the vacancy left by the resignation of our confidential secretary. In particular, Local Blue would be tasked with working on public engagement and social media efforts. Obviously, we have an immediate need due to the resignation, but that this would be through the end of the year, and then we revisit it and look at a permanent solution come January. So, do I have a motion?
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Contract HDC2.
The vote isn't finished yet. Okay, so all those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Pretty good. Okay, so contract HDC FFCR Act and HDCR CARES Act funding for Title 3C1, 3C2 nutrition programs, PY 2020 to 2021. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austining authorizes the supervisor to sign an agreement with Westchester County Department of Senior Programs and Services for the purpose of receiving $59,148 in grant funding under the HDC2 FFCR Act and HDC3 CARES Act for Title 3C1, 3C2 nutrition programs for program year commencing March 20th, 2020 and ending September 30th, 2021.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
So this resolution and the next are to approve contracts for receiving money, grant funding, which we love to receive to the tune of about $100,000 between the two of them for the senior nutrition program. And we are very thankful to our site manager, Lynn Muller, for navigating these funding opportunities. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Contract Wellness and Nutrition Program WIN and Nutrition Service Incentives Program NSIP for PY 2021 to 2022. It resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Austining authorizes the supervisor to sign an agreement with the Westchester County Department of Senior Programs and Services for the purposes of receiving $47,566 in grant funding under the Wellness and Nutrition Program WIN and Nutrition Services Incentive Program NSIP for program year commencing April 1st, 2021 and ending March 31st, 2022.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Resolution rescheduling work session. Whereas the town board currently has a work session scheduled for Wednesday, September 8th, 2021 in the first floor conference room on 16 Current Avenue. And whereas it has come to the town board's attention that there is a conflict with this meeting date as the village board of trustees has a meeting scheduled for the same time and place. And whereas due to Labor Day, Rosh Hashanah, and the Westchester Municipal Officials Association meeting, there is no viable date for the town board to hold this work session the week of September 6th through 10th, 2021. And now therefore be it resolved. The town board hereby rescheduled this work session to Tuesday, August 31st, 2021, to be held in the first floor conference room at Town Hall, 16 Croton Avenue at 7:30 p.m. and via video conferencing with access information available at the town website. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to notice said meeting as required by law.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So there was actually one more reason, because now that we have in-person meetings, I don't even know if we did at the time, I can't remember. We realized that the village board was going to have their meeting in person on that same night for the reason of the holidays that week. So we couldn't quite figure out where we were all gonna sit and have the meeting at the same time in this room, sitting on top of each other. Didn't think that was a great idea. So we moved our meeting back a week. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed?
Okay. Resolution conversation easement for MGM Design and Construction Group LLC. Whereas as a condition of the minor subdivision plat of approval granted by the planning board for the property located on the easterly side of Hawks Avenue to the north of its intersection with Court and Dam Road, MGM Design and Construction Group LLC is required to enter into a conservation easement with the town in order to ensure a portion of the property containing natural features remains in its natural and undisturbed state in perpetuity, and no construction, excavation, or soil disturbance is allowed or permitted to occur. And now therefore be it resolved, the town board hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute the conservation easement submitted by MGM Design and Construction Group LLC signed July 26, 2021. And be it further resolved, the supervisor is authorized to sign all documents reasonably necessary to have the easement recorded with the county clerk. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So this resolution would be to approve a conservation easement at Hawks Avenue and maintain open space in perpetuity, which we love. At least I think so. So, Councilor Toledano, do you have anything that you wanted to add to explain this in greater detail?
No, conservation easements are governed by state law, and so there's special protections afforded to them. And so the town will, if by entering into this agreement, will have rights in the easement and to enforce it should there be an issue in the future, which, you know, obviously you never anticipate there will be. But it was, as the resolution stated, it was a condition of the subdivision approval to ensure that a certain portion of the property remains in its natural state and undeveloped. So it's a benefit. And the agreement's been reviewed by Kathy Landis, the planning board attorney. I took a look at it too. So we'll be ready to get it done.
Okay. Any further discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Calling for public hearing in the matter of a local law to opt out of allowing on-site cannabis consumption sites in the unincorporated town of Austining. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austining hereby calls for a public hearing to be held on Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 at 7:30 p.m. in the first floor boardroom at the Austining Municipal Building, 16 Croton Avenue, Austining, New York, 10562, and via Zoom video conferencing, which information will be available at www.townofaustining.com in the matter of a local law to opt out of allowing on-site cannabis consumption sites in the unincorporated town of Austining.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
So at our next town board legislative session, we will open a public hearing to consider a local law to opt out of on-site cannabis consumption. This local law would not apply to dispensaries, which would mean essentially that they would be allowed in the unincorporated town by default, according to New York State law. This follows suit with the Village of Austin as what we understand is the direction that they're going. We look forward to hearing more from the community as part of the upcoming public hearing on this local law. Further discussion or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed?
Monthly reports. Resolved that the town board of the town of Austin hereby accepts the following monthly reports for the month of July 2021. Town clerk, town building department, GE helicopter, tax receiver, town supervisor, and town highway department.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, with that, we turn to visitor recognition. Visitors are afforded 1 4-minute opportunity to speak. Please raise your virtual hand if you'd like to be recognized. Oh, we do have a virtual hand, Gabby Hamilton. Okay, okay, we are going to.
Hamilton, you have been allowed to speak, so you just need to unmute yourself.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
I can't see myself. I don't know if you can see me, but I don't know, my camera's not working, but I mean, I found this meeting very, very helpful. That the Sustainable Westchester, the plan is really great, and I look forward to joining in on those meetings, and also going on the tour that Liz was talking about with the gentleman who does those really great tours. So thank you very much. I got a lot of great information this evening.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
Mhm.
And we're looking forward to seeing you at the Staple. in the not too distant future. Anybody else like to be recognized? Okay, I'm gonna say I hear and see nobody. So with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session for advice of counsel, personnel, and collective bargaining.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Thank you for joining us tonight. Next week, we do not have a work session scheduled, no meeting. So we can all enjoy a little bit of summer. We will be back on August 24th with the legislative session. I hope everyone enjoys the next few weeks. Have a great night.